Went to an estate sale just nearby me here, and I picked up a little Mantis tiller. That other one was just beyond fooling with that simplicity. So anyway, this turns over, has compression, it has a clean gas tank, the tines are there. I picked up these Christmas lights, which I'll do in the video here too. Set them with my junk there. Anyway, probably put gas in it, it'll light up, but it came with this too, which is an extra tine. I think this is for edging, because you can see how these ones have like every third one's turned like so. So I think you put just this one on if you want to edge. And then there's these, which I believe go on here somehow, one way or the other. Have to figure that out. And then there's these, which go on it for dethatching, and that's why there's these. So when you're dethatching, it's cover. Oh, I'm not even pointing the camera at it. I'm sitting here holding the camera. I don't look at the viewfinder, but anyway, these, I think these go on maybe somehow. We'll figure it out when we get ready to use it. Anyway, yeah, so it came with these, which this goes with this for when you edge, and you can also get one that looks like a wire brush for weeding. A nut in here too. So anyway, there we go. It's a pretty dandy little tiller. We'll have to get that thing going. It looks like, I don't know if that means the year it was purchased in, which would be 2010. If that's the case, if that's what that is. Some of the numbers on it. I think that's all the numbers on it. But I don't think there's anything else in that box, no. The reason I picked this up too was 50% off day at the particular sale that I went to. This was at, and it was marked $50. So I got it for 25 bucks with the accessories. The accessories and the tiller were one price. There's a nice little well-balanced carry handle here. That thing balances nice when you carry it right there. And it only weighs about maybe 10 pounds. It's a pretty light little tiller. But anyway, the snow blower is all done. I'm just waiting. You know, I'll advertise it more when they predict snow. You can advertise these things year round. They won't sell until you get snow. So I thought I'd put it out for, ad up for 150 bucks for it when we get snow. And if we get snow, I'll go out and do a little snow blowing with it too. That was a estate sale find too. But this, and this was not an estate sale. This is not mine. It's a 1959. This is on kind of sideways. But that's what it is. And it is a 1959 because it was from Haney's when it was a Howard Johnson. It was there when Haney's bought the place. And Tom, they're going to throw it away, so Tom garbage picked it, so I'm going to restore it from him. So I got to straighten this, as you see that one compared to this one. So that's bent. Needs to be all disassembled, straightened out, clean, painted, the motor clean. So if you want to see a video on this, I'll probably make a video on restoring it. What the heck, it's a neat old fan. The cord is kind of messed up, and the plug was cut off, so we'll check it out as I get ready to restore it. But anyway, there we go. I just thought I'd do a little video here, and I'll put some gas in this and we'll see if it fires up. And the inside of that tank is super clean, and the primer bulb's doesn't appear to be broken, and it's still pliable. That's the throttle. These are the fuel hoses. They appear good. So hopefully we'll give it a try and see what happens. I think the primer bulb does have a crack in it, but I got them, but we'll see if it fires, if it does anything. Let me set the camera here somewhere where you guys can see it. That choker is at. Let's choke. May not start with a cracked primer bulb, but we'll try it. Yep, I think I'm going to have to I'll put a primer bulb on it, and as long as I have the carb apart to do that, I might as well take it apart and clean it. I have primer bulbs, I have carb kits, so we'll just say that needs a carb overhaul, but it does run, as you saw. Well, this is the next day, and I'm going to start working on this. And I went online, and parts, yeah, they're super cheap. So the air filter, which is that, the fuel line assembly, and the air filter are $5. This is a whole assembly you can buy with the filters and vents and everything. And let's see if I can get this filter out of here. Yeah, it needs a new filter, so I think I'll just order the filter and the fuel hose assembly. In the meantime, I'm just going to change this. Well, my camera died on me there, and I had changed the battery. So anyway, as I was saying, the air filter, I don't know what I missed here or not, but the air filter needs replacing. And they sell a kit that comes with a brand new carburetor, the mounting gasket, the air cleaner gasket, the fuel lines with the little rubber grommet that goes in the tank, the air filter, and a spark plug for $20. I think it was 19 something, about 20 bucks. So I think I'm just going to order that kit, and in the meantime I'm going to change this. I'm pretty certain if I look through here, I have primer bulbs. I don't know if I have fuel hose, lots of fuel hose. Those are magnetos. I even have brand new carburetors, floats. Let's see, these are for oilers on home light chainsaws. I guess I don't have any of those primer bulbs, so maybe I'm not changing it today. Let's see, that's a switch. These are all the carb kits I have, and I know there's Zama kits in there, so I have carb kits that'll fit that tiller engine. Spark plug wire boot ends. Well, I'm going to look around here and see if I have a primer bulb. If I don't, I'm just going to go in and order that kit. When it comes, we'll continue the video. Well, along with ordering that stuff for this, I think I'm going to order some extra of these primer bulbs. You can see I robbed the bulb off this carburetor here, which would have been perfect. But I have this one, and I don't know if the bulb's the same or not. We're going to find out, and if it is, at least then I can, make sure everything runs good. It did seem to run okay when I got it going, but as you can see, that primer bulb is disintegrated, and due to that, it just draws air in and quits running. So, and the more I push on it, and I'm sure these fuel lines, they feel pretty stiff too, so I'm going to order that fuel line air filter kit. That I think the carburetor will be fine. I mean, it's an adjustable, decent carburetor. I can clean it and rebuild it if need be. I have Zama kits. But, for the extra little cost, maybe I'll just order it too. All right, let me see if this will work. As you see, the primer bulb is off, and I took the one off this carburetor too, and you can see they're different sizes, so I'll just put this one back on this carburetor, and I'll just have to order some parts for this. No big deal. It'll be fairly inexpensive, and we'll get this thing going properly here. After a bit of hunting around, I did find my primer bulbs, but I also ordered parts, but this bulb and this bulb look like the same bulb, and I cleaned this off, and I think we'll put it together and see if it runs. It's in place and it pumps up good, and I don't see any reason why this thing won't run now. I'm going to clean the air filter up a little bit. When it runs good, I'm going to clean the whole machine up. But like I say, the parts for these things are super inexpensive, so I found the carb to spacer gasket, carb gasket for the airbox, fuel line assembly with this rubber grommet, the filter, and the little, I don't know, there's a little thing that I think it's tucked up in here for the vent for the tank. Yeah, it's right here. So it comes with that, and the air filter and the spark plug. And I actually did a little hunting around online and found all three of the Zama carb. It's not a, you know, Zama carbs are Chinese anyway, but it's not a, you know, a generic carb. It's an actual Zama carb. The whole kit was $13 that I bought. You can get the gas tank new too. With the fuel lines, it's about $10 or $12. So the parts for the fuel system and whatnot are fairly, the parts in general are fairly inexpensive. What I find expensive if I look online are short block engines or the gear case. And even these tines, these tines will pull in $80, $90. Those $120, $130. And this about $120 for the edger attachment. And they make an aerator too. I used to have a Bluebird aerator. Had maybe a 2 or 3 horse Briggs and Stratton on it, as I remember. But anyway, I sold that to a lawn place. But we're gonna put the air filter back on and see if we can get this thing going again. I did do a little research on this online. I think it's a 2010 model, but you can tell it's never had any service work done on it. I think it says it was sold new. I don't think they just put gas in it and used it. And you know, these 2 cycles, you don't really need to change the oil or anything, but it definitely needs some fuel hoses and a little bit of attention. I mean, but for what I paid, $25 I paid for the tiller, and I'll probably have another $20 into it by the time I'm all said and done. And needs a good cleaning up. That'll be next order. After it runs good, we'll clean it up really good. And anyway, let me take it outside and see if it runs. The weather's turned a little crummy, but we've already primed it. Carburetor adjusting tool in case if I need to do some carb adjustments. We'll just open them both up a little bit, and we'll probably have to close them back down. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to take the screws out and clean the carburetor a little bit. I took out the high and low speed mixture screws, or vice versa, whatever they are. But anyway, I'm going to squirt some of this in there. I don't want to use gum out in a 2-cycle engine. This is made by Mercury Marine, and if you have an engine with stuck piston rings, you can spray it around the edges of the pistons, work the motor a little bit. You'll eventually get those rings freed up. And this stuff works great. It's some of the best stuff I've ever used, but I'm just going to squirt a little bit into the jets here. I suspect the diaphragm in there is probably hard too. Put the screws back in and reset them, and then we'll need 2 hands here, and then we'll try it again. I've been horsing this thing for about as long as I'm going to do here in a minute, and then just wait for the parts. And you can see the original plug that I took out is a CJ8Y, and it's really wet and cruddy. It's running like it's starved to fuel, but that's definitely not starved to fuel. And I just happen to have in my spark plug stash brand new one, so we're going to throw it in and see if that makes any difference. If it doesn't, we'll wait until the fuel system parts come. Well, it idles with the new spark plug, but as soon as you give it the gas, it peters out. I mean, it's been idling here for quite a while. I had to go get the camera, and I took this off and blew the cooling fins out because it looked like it had grass in it from the rake thing that was on there, but it wasn't enough to where it would overheat it. It was very little. Anyway, let me see if I can get it to go again. Then as soon as I start giving it the gas, see how it bogs out. But it'll sit there and idle like that for, I let it sit there and idle for probably 10 minutes thinking it would clean it out, but it just needs some carb work, and it needs fuel lines, so I'm just gonna stop videoing and wait until I get the new parts, and we'll finish the video. My parts finally came for the tiller. You can see these fuel lines. Why, I've got new ones. These, they're just like concrete. They're not even pliable, and I changed that because the original one burst. But I ordered a new carburetor because, you know, it was just so cheap. So I got this, which is obviously the carburetor, and I got the gasket for here for the air cleaner side. Got the gasket for the engine side. Obviously got a new air cleaner. You can see that one's pretty trashed out, so we'll put a new air cleaner in it. And the fuel line assembly, so we can take care of that. And the spark plug, which I already put a new one in it, and that one was bad because it wouldn't idle or really run very well until I put a new plug in it. So we got all these new parts. So let's get to work here, and I'll get the carburetor off, and I think I'll just take the fuel tank and carburetor off as an assembly, and then pull this grommet out of the tank to separate just leave the lines on the carburetor for now. I'll probably rebuild this carburetor. I have Zama carb kits, so I'll probably just rebuild it and throw it in my drawer I got a bunch of these carburetors, and a lot of them are brand new, and the ones that aren't brand new I've rebuilt and just thrown in there. So if I get something that has a gummed up carburetor, I can swap it out or rebuild it. I mean, these little Zamas are the simplest little carburetor on the planet, these things. So anyway, let me get gotta take a couple screws out. That's all it holds the carburetor and the air box and stuff on. You can see a little choke is in the air box. There's no choke on the carburetor there. And let's get to work here. There we go. Yeah, it's a quick, easy way to get the carburetor and fuel lines and everything off. Just take it with the tank. I'm not going to take this off. 2 screws there and a gasket there. It did come with the gasket for I don't know, I think this goes on this way like that. But I'm not taking that spacer off, so I'll just throw this in my parts drawers. Did come with a new gasket for where the carburetor bolts to the block here. There's the original gasket. We'll put the replacement on it. So I think I'll put the carb on, and then I'll change the fuel lines on the tank and install a tank. So as you can see, I just pulled the rubber grommet out with my fingers. I just kind of grabbed it and yanked it out. We got a new one here and it looks a lot bigger, so it's going to be a lot, you know, this one's all hard and crusty, so this one might be a little more difficult to push in, so I'm going to put a little WD-40 on it. This is the part with the filter. It goes in the tank. This goes the engine. That's the vent, and that just sits up in that part there. So the tank gas cap is totally sealed. There's no vent on the cap. It's all vented through this. There's the new fuel line assembly pushed into the tank. That looks pretty easy with a little WD-40 on it. I would have probably struggled without the WD-40. Anyway, I'm going to hook the lines up. This is the fuel to the bottom of the carburetor. This is the return from when you prime it to the tank. And again, that's the fuel tank vent. Well, I guess what kind of garbage can you expect off the internet for $13 for a carburetor? Yeah. It just barely sucks any fuel with the primer. So I doubt it's going to run, but we're going to try it and see. I'll put a little more gas in it, but that fuel clunk is on the bottom of the tank and it should suck that tank dry. So anyway, yeah, that's... Well, there it's going now that I put the fuel cap on it. Primes, maybe the fuel cap has to be on this type of system. But anyway, let's put the air cleaner on, take it out, and see if it runs. So the air cleaner hits a screw, and you can see on the original carburetor it's got a different idle adjustment screw. So we're going to change those, and hopefully the air cleaner goes on. And if I have any issues with this carb, I'll just rebuild this one, which I'm going to, like I say, I'm going to do anyway. And probably put it back on because I'm not completely thinking this carburetor here is all that. Anyway, let me change the screw and we'll see if it runs with this carburetor. Next problem with this cheesy, cheap carburetor is these screws, the idle speed screw. Whoops. They're supposed to hit this little bit of this arm here. Neither one of those screws even come close to that one. So I have a feeling this carburetor is going to have to be rebuilt and go back on. I don't know if you can see this, but I got that screw turned in as tight as it'll go. And there's got to be a 1/16 of an inch gap in there, so that's not going to work. So let me get a carb kit out and we'll go through this carburetor. Well, I just noticed my battery had gone dead. I set the camera up here, started the recording, started it up, adjusted the carburetor. And then when I went to pick the camera up to show you it running, I noticed that the battery was dead. So anyway, we got another battery, and we got it. I was able to cobble things and get that screw to work. And works pretty good. Yeah, it'll fill up the garden nice. Yeah, I'm looking forward to using this. So anyway, we got this thing going here, and it should start one pull, hopefully. Hopefully I can pull it and hold the camera out at the same time. There we go. Got a nice running Mantis stiller that cleaned up and looks like brand new. So I'm getting the aerator attachment for it too, so I can, you know, I don't have a lot of yard here, so the aerator attachment for this will work perfect to aerate the yard. And in the meantime, I'm going to clean this up a little bit. Why not? Why, it's out and running, right? There we go. I tilled up a bit here. I have to keep this trench here so water can run from there so it doesn't go in the shed, and it can run around here and soak down into the ground. And my downspout from the garage empties there, so that's why I get a fair amount of water back here. But that allows it to drain and not puddle. But anyway, I tilled a bit in there. I got bulbs over in here and some bulbs in there, and where I didn't till, there's bulbs that come up in the spring. There's hyacinths in here. And so anyway, I just kind of did where I had some plants and stuff, and just to play with the tiller. But that cleaned up that mess of moss and stuff really well. And I think this is going to be a Jim Dandy little tiller. I'm going to keep this. I'm not going to sell it. I'm going to use it. Like I say, I have those attachments for it. So it has a garden edging attachment, has a rake dethatching attachment, and like I say, I ordered an aerator. I found a used one fairly inexpensive. Those aerator tines are like 120 bucks. The accessories for these things is crazy nuts expensive. But anyway, I found a pair of aerator tines for 20 bucks on eBay and ordered them, and they should be here tomorrow or the next day. But that carburetor ended up working out. It runs pretty good. I have no complaints. I am going to rebuild the original one and may or may not put it back on for now. We'll see. Maybe when that one gets gummed up, if I don't use this a lot, I can swap it out. We'll see. But there we go. That worked out pretty good. I can till in here pretty much everything from behind the hostas. You can see where the hostas are, and they grow out pretty good, and this grows down. But all that in there, there's never anything in there, and the ground's really hard, so I could break the ground up a little bit to allow the rain to go down in there a little bit better. And the same with over in here where those two things are. There's a bunch of ferns in there, and I put impatiens in behind the bench in there, and begonias there, and then my columbine is there. But yeah, it's a sweet runner. I thought I'd show how these aerator tines work. They're all completely straight, and they poke down into the soil and allow water to get into the soil. So anyway, we're gonna give it a little try here with the tines and see how it does. Kind of pull back. Put little divots in the ground. I was playing with it earlier here. So that's just so clicky when it does. So anyway, I'm just going to go around these areas where it gets really packed, where I walk all the time. Soil gets really compacted and then water can't get in there, and that's why it gets thin. So I'm gonna just kind of aerate around the garage back here with it, and hopefully that'll allow some water to get in. It's supposed to rain tomorrow, so I thought I'd do it today. Yeah, I'll show you the tilling teeth are a little more different than the ones just to aerate the ground. They're to tear things up. I filled that up actually, and I've used the tiller and I've used the aerator, and I've used it quite a bit, ran it quite a while today, and that's all the gas I burned. I ran it a good probably half hour, 40, maybe 45 minutes to an hour. I ran it quite a while. I aerated the whole backyard, and you know, that's only, I'm gonna measure it. Looks like it's about 9 inches, but I went both ways. I went north, south, east, and west on the yard with this to aerate, and it did a really nice job. You know, like I say, it took me about maybe half an hour, and I did some tilling that took me about 15 minutes, and I had to clean up the fenders for the rakes, and there's the edgers. So yeah, pretty good deal. I got 40 bucks total into it. I guess seeing the Mantis tiller here was an estate sale video and getting it going and whatnot, and picking it up in an estate sale, plus its accessories. I also picked up at a different estate sale this masking machine, and I paid $12 for it. It's pretty slick. It came with the paper. I put a roll of tape on it, and sometimes I just want skinnier paper, and I got one with wider paper there, but that was, you know, 12 bucks. I couldn't go wrong on that. That's from up north. That's not estate sale, although the estate sale I bought this in had one of these for $225. I thought that was nuts. But anyway, I also picked up a thing of sandpaper. I always buy sandpaper in estate sales. So I paid $2 for it. Tons and tons of, the thing is a little flimsy. I'll put it in my plastic Tupperware bin, and I have 2 of them in the basement full of sandpapers. But yeah, sandpaper is expensive. So when I find it in estate sales, I buy it. And anyway, there we go. I just thought I'd add this on the Christmas lights. I haven't checked them yet out either. These were estate sale. I'm not going to go through them bulb by bulb right now, but I think I will plug them in. Hopefully we don't blow a breaker. Whoops, looks like there's 2 strands here, so let's see, that bulb is caught there. I don't know, oh, I guess the other. Anyway, let me untangle it. There we go. One bulb was loose, and I tighten it up and they all work, and we'll plug that set in there. It looks like there's 7 bulbs, 15 and maybe 25 in that one. It looks like there's even an extra bulb here, but we'll check some of these other strands out too. I usually, you know, a lot of times I don't, I can see a lot of loose bulbs here. Oops, there's a little sticker on that. Yeah, often you just go around and tighten up the bulbs, and they work, because these are the soldered brass sockets. So that bulb's out. And where's that extra bulb that I had here? That's showing what I'm doing here again. Anyway, let me set that down, and there we go. All but 1 bulb and 2. This bulb just went out, so all but 2 bulbs in that string work. And we got, I think this is just one string. It was marked $10, but it was 50% off day, so I paid $5 for all of these lamps. So let me here's the plug in. Yeah, whoops. Well, that bulb probably just got ruined. All these bulbs here are loose too. So let me snug them all up. I think I got them all snugged, but we'll find out when we plug them in. Yeah, I guess So I think this one's out. That one's out. That one's loose, that one's loose, that one's out. All right, and all but a few of those work too. There we go. Show up on there, hopefully. A lot of GE, a lot of other oddball lamps and whatnot, but most of them are GE and most all of them work. So there we go. We got a 25, a 15, a 7, and a box of blue lamps, and then these lamps are bad, so they'll go in the bin. That is it, finally, for this video. Again, if you enjoyed it, hit the thumbs up. It helps, doesn't cost you anything. That 348 engine icon that pops up will help you subscribe if you like my channel, and thank you for watching my video.